Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we'll look at another small block ship. This one puts the heat vents to very good use, as you can see right behind me, and it's called the HGSS Viper, which is this lovely thing sitting right underneath me. So as I said, it's a small block ship that features a couple of autocannon turrets for some protection. It's got a small interior for you to walk around on, and has a very unique design. Pressing F10 and finding the Viper in the spawn menu. There it is. This thing is 3,277 small blocks, using the Warfare 1 and 2, Sparks of the Future and Wasteland DLC packs. We got no other information whatsoever on the Steam Workshop page, so simply give this a thumbs up. I'll move the camera all the way towards the very front, we'll have a quick look around the outside, we'll have a quick look at the interior, we'll fly around for a bit, then we'll go and say hello to the pirates, which are sitting fairly close by. So at the very front, this is what we get. So front and center we can see a singular line of windows with a cockpit right behind it to fly this thing around. We've also got some red and grey battered steel blocks with some interior lights on the left and right hand side blinking in their green and red colours. If we were to come around onto the side, we've got some great use of our armoured panels, just adding us that little jaw which you see sometimes on the side of jets. And there is a wasteland spotlight to light up the darkness. As we move along the main body with some great use of our blaster edge blocks, just adding us a bit of decoration. Then over to this section we can see two autocannon turrets with another wasteland spotlight just sitting on a hinge. If we were to turn over to this section we see some more great use for our blaster edge blocks, where right behind it we can see some atmospheric thrusters to push this thing around. If we were to drop down and over to this part, this is our fake landing gear, where we've got angled blocks that come down onto some wheels, and we'll just softly land down onto this rather than clamping down with a landing gear or a magnetic plate. Anyway, if we look at that on the side, that's what that looks like. Over onto this section, we then got a little fin, but once again, we've got some blaster edge blocks just coming along the top there. Okay, just look down at it like so, and just coming underneath it. There we are. Then round towards the back, another landing leg setup at the very rear of the vehicle, and this is what I was talking about why it puts the heat vents to very good use. Got one hell of a lot of heat vents, which will change as we fly this thing around. At the rear of the ship, this is where I originally thought the doorway to get in and out was. But no, this is just some more fancy decoration using our blaster edge blocks and a blue strip on the top and the bottom. If we were to move all the way up and look down, that's what we get over here. And going towards the front, not too much else to talk about. There's our autocannon turret on the other side. That is where I'm standing. And there is our cockpit. If we were to drop down and come underneath it, that is what we get. So we can see some more hinges on the back of those wasteland spotlights. So if we do need to, we can angle all of these spotlights around the ship to get a better look around us. If we were to come over to this section, that's the doorway to get in and out. That is another turret, which I've completely forgotten what it's called. I think that's the artillery cannon. But yes, that just sits right behind our doorway. If we were to just come over to this section, we see a blue light underneath us. And then towards the back there, not too much else to talk about. If we were to just come up and peer the camera into one of our heat vent areas, like so, we can then see right behind it some atmospheric thrusters. They're just stacked on top of each other. Around towards the back, that's what we get. But to drop down to the low ones, there we go. So the creator has gone to great lengths to hide all the atmospheric thrusters on this ship, and I think they've done a bloody great job. But now what I can do is just grab hold of my character. We can now come underneath the ship, so it's time to go on the inside and take a look at what it has. So finding that doorway, which is just in front of this turret, we'll just go into jetpack all the way up, come across, and then we'll just close up the door. There we go. This is what we get on the inside. So we've got our cockpit at the front, we've got a bunch of cargo containers for some manual access to all the stuff in the ship, and of course to load up ammunition into your turrets. On the left hand side we've got some weapon lockers to store a few bits and bobs in. Then looking towards the back, that is what we get. So coming around onto this section we've got another rover chair, which is going to be to control a custom turret. But unfortunately the custom turret is completely missing on this ship. If it was using a custom weapon controller, there's absolutely nothing this thing does. So we'll just hop out of this for the moment, not too sure what's going on with it, so I'll simply ignore it. Anyway, moving all the way across over to here, here's all of our warfare batteries to power this thing, with a lovely warfare reactor sitting right to the back in a silver skin. If it was to crouch and look up, that is the lighting we get on the inside. It was just to put the shadows on for the moment, so I forgot I had that disabled. There we go. That's what it looks like, a lot better on the inside. Now we can just come all the way across towards the very front and get into the cockpit. So bringing up the HUD and just moving this away from the ground, these are the only controls we get on this ship. So number one is going to be for our assault cannon, which is that turret sitting right below it. I believe I call it an artillery turret. so always get them mixed up. Number 2 is to turn on and off our autocannons on the top and on the sides. Number 3 is then for our lights to turn them on and off all the way around the ship. And number 4 is to turn our warfare reactors to recharge or auto. What does it have? Number 3, 4 and 5, we've got nothing else. So it's time to fly this thing around. So for the moment I'm going to hide the HUD, put the camera nice and close towards the back here and start to move forwards. And you can see we get a lovely glow as they all just flip to the open and then slightly closed. There we go. Moving forwards with the HUD up, this is the speed we get, but not the fastest thing in the world, but for a gunship, this is basically in line with all the other blueprints I've shown. Coming to a stop, that is what we get, so we are very slow, so do make sure you have plenty of distance between you and your destination to make sure you can stop in time. Moving left, that is what we get, and then moving right, once again, we are very slow with that. Moving up, we are still very slow with that, and then moving down should be gravity-based, which is the fastest thing on this ship. And as for gyroscope controls, this is what we get. We have a surprising amount of control on here. For a ship that is very heavy, very slow in all directions, it is surprisingly responsive. And there we go, that's pretty much it what the HGSS Viper has to offer. Now the only thing to do is of course fly over to that pirate headquarters and see what this thing can do. I have very little hope that this will survive more than a second. We do have a small amount of firepower on here, but that base is very heavily armed with Gatling guns and rocket turrets. And here we are at the pirate headquarters. Hopefully the guns will start to open fire at any moment. And there we go, there goes the gun underneath us, the assault cannon, there goes our auto cannons. And I believe this outpost is still damaged from one of my previous videos. I don't think there's any turrets left on this. So this is just easy pickings for this ship. And yes, I think the only thing left to do now is just simply slam it straight into it. And here we go, we're now going to start to move forwards. There's all the guns just pummeling into it. And we're going to go through this building right here, straight forwards, and hopefully we'll deal a nice lot of damage. And there we go. It doesn't look like we did too much damage. The turrets are still firing, so they're all in one piece. And just coming out of there, moving all the way around. And there we go. It's surprisingly resistant to crashing into stuff. But anyway, that is pretty much it for what the Viper has to offer. It's a lovely little gunship if you are looking to play with one in your world. There'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around for yourself. Highly recommend you do. And I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.